That's you. Yes.
Question to Gregory. The emission and absorption lines of methane, are they detectable from long distances on the order of light years?
Well, they're not by us right now, but after we've done it at a distance of an AU, you can scale the size of the instrument that way.
The question is, can these absorption lines of methane be detected over a distance of light years?
And you can. And ozone line is much easier to detect, but Mars doesn't have an ozone line.
Okay. I think, you were next, and then you back there.
I was thinking about a way to sell this idea to people, the idea of going to Mars, and one thing I thought of was, what if we hadn't managed to get our act together and go to the moon? What kind of stuff do you think we would be lacking now? How much difference in retrospect would that make?
What would we be lacking if we hadn't gone to the moon?
Alternative history. Yes. I think we would lack a true global perspective because, would we have satellites at all? I think we would, just as a communication system. But I think we'd be a profoundly different society, a much more narrow society.
That photo, I was just about to say, imagine Christmas with no photos of the Earth as seen from the moon. That's such an iconic image.
Unless we're right up there with the pale blue dot we got.
So, how would we be different lacking that perspective? It might very well be a smaller ambient world, maybe in subtle ways, but I think that phenomenon would be missing from it.
After all, the big parts of the planet that are smaller and meaner, the majority of the people on this planet may never have seen that too.
It's back there, and then way back there. Yes, you. Okay, so first you, then back there.
Taking the discussion further to help us in the future to actually start terraforming on planets, on what level of complexity of life would you say we should not terraform a planet?
What level of complexity of life would you say we should not terraform over?
Well, if it's a viable biosphere, you can alter it if you wish. I don't think there's any kind of general rule. You have to determine what your goal in doing something is. For example, if it's maybe saving. Suppose, thought experiment. You go back in time, right? And Mars is starting to dry out and cool off. If you drop commentary into it, you can boost up the atmosphere and keep it going. Is that a good thing or bad? That's an extreme case. I would vote for doing it, but others may do it.
I think that when it comes right down to it, no matter what ethical systems we claim to have or we would like to have in our better selves, eventually all moral decisions come down to moral relativism. That you can say and truly believe, thou shalt not kill. I would never kill another human being. And yet there's always going to be a situation where if it comes down to saving your own life, or saving the lives of your family, or saving the lives of all the people that you know, and this happens a lot in fiction, where you do have to kill, even though your own moral code doesn't allow you to do it. Very often, people will act. They will take that action, and then have to live with the consequences for the rest of their lives. So, if it comes down to a question of if we must destroy an alien species in order to save ourselves, then it becomes a balance of what do we get in exchange?
Sure, but that's not what he asked. Your hypothetical situation is extremely hypothetical, but if you were just to take it strictly as in and of itself, I would say that any alien life that was not our cousins, that we should just leave alone. It could be, as long as it was alive, that it has some kind of life integrity. And so, this is but it's a very, very hypothetical situation. It's not going to exist in the solar system, I presume. Where the interesting thing about the Mars system is that we can coexist with an alien race that's a couple of kilometers underground. The interaction would be so minimal that it would be trivial and unimportant.
And we've been interacting with Mars for billions of years.
We've been slinging
tons of rocks back and forth.
We could be descended from that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's quite possible. The fact that they can pose it also.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good evidence.
People have said to me, you know, that piece of Mars that you ate, Stan, you know, did you ever see the movie Alien?
This is why I'm sitting a little bit further. Remember, the moral of the movie Alien is don't eat Chinese food. I believe there was a hand way up there, and then the green one here. And then,
Not me.
One thing we was getting at, and Mars is, if there had been life there, like fossils from very, very far back might be much more easily accessible there than on Earth. No, I mean fossils from billions and billions of years back.
yeah, I think it's absolutely the case that it's very likely. I think it's a lot more likely that there was life on Mars than there is life on Mars. And because there hasn't been an overlay of either biological or geological activity since then, it's absolutely the case that if we go to Mars, we're more likely to find fossils of life from very, very early than the equivalent fossils from here.
Yeah, it could be that there's no life now, but you're absolutely right about fossils. I mean, after all, the stromatolites are more than 3 billion years old, and we have those fossils.
But yeah, I think that's yet another reason to go to Mars. Over here in the green, maybe do you have your hand up?
I was doing
Oh,
that.
okay. And then you'll be the last.
Sorry.
So you and then.
Is there any feasible way to terraform Mars and sort of reverse the way that Stan used his models? In his models, Stan came up with a compromise where the high altitudes were making oxygen and the less terraform the low altitudes. I'm not sure potentially if it's right in these areas that perhaps in the lower altitude. So is there a feasible way to terraform Mars in reverse of compromise?
So is there a way to terraform Mars that leaves these areas alone?
No.
Gravity. Yeah. There's that pesky thing about things that are lower tend to be lower than the things that are higher.
Yeah, these are level surface mining. Classic Burroughs regime.
Okay, last question.
I hate to ask this question, but with all the resources it's going to take to get there, and terraforming is going to be, a charity event. Really business and ways to justify doing it might be this doesn't seem to be the first approach to anything I hear. Is there any concept, at least ideas coming out in the community about a business case for going to Mars? Because honestly, if there's a profit to make, it's a heck of a lot easier.
The novel The Martian Race is about the first Mars expedition as a private enterprise because there's a prize offered of $30 billion, and you can arguably do it for $30 billion. And somebody says, just the TV rights and the advertising rights are worth $30 billion. You know how much Super Bowl makes every year?
Yeah, there have been a lot of science. There have been a lot of science fiction stories written around the idea of financing space travel with media rights or having it be some kind of contest.
Well, it's a drama, and this is what NASA has, in my mind, to iron out of their program. Boldly going and exploring is risky. Everybody knows that, and NASA tried to turn it into something as dull as going to school in a bus.
Play up the risk.
Yeah, play up the risk. It's real. And it's a drama, and you sell the right, for $30 a month, like a day, you get to watch closed cam views of the guys on Mars, see what they're doing. How many people would buy that? How many people in this room would buy that? Yeah, right? Almost odds to buy
Some proportion of 6 billion people.
Yeah. And you can sell it. I mean, every time they go around a corner, it's brand new.
We're being kicked out, but I would like to just throw a little monkey wrench into this notion that I think that one of the reasons that those little Mars rovers were so interesting to everybody was that it was finally something that wasn't being done for a buck. It was just being done for scientific interest and being done, the public doing public stuff for the public and for. And so, as a government versus business person, as a government over business person, I just say that people are sick of the profit motive and would like to be doing something just because it's a cool thing to do.
The guys who don't did it.
They made a living off of it, but they didn't make a profit. There's a big difference.
Yeah. And I think the thing to really